Man, I really hope you guys are taking in just how unprecedented, unlikely, improbable this Miami Heat run truly is. And the media, they don't want to give the Heat any sort of chance, and maybe this is just ESPN's way of building it up. Oh, we're going to give them a 3% chance. Even if they win that first game, we're going to give them a 15% chance. And then after 2 games, a 35% chance, even though those 2 games were in Boston. And now the Heat only have to win 2 more. They go back home. Hard to imagine they lose both of those games. You're telling me that they're still not the favorites now? The sports books would disagree. I really don't know what ESPN is doing here. Maybe it's just what I said. Like, they just want to build the hype up. But if you watch basketball, if you've been watching this Heat team in the playoffs, and I've watched every game, I've watched this team religiously because I am fascinated by the phenomenon that is this 8-seed team. Jimmy Butler, Erik Spoelstra, easily the best coach in basketball. You watch how these guys execute on both sides of the ball. Nobody plays basketball as a unit like the Miami Heat. They do it with a ton of undrafted players. They are always the team inferior as far as pure talent goes. They do not have the plethora of tough shot makers. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they play quote unquote boring basketball. It's a lot of passes, it's a lot of cutting, it's a lot of screens, it's a lot of action everywhere on the court. On defense, they just play the right way. They're always in the spot. It's less flashy stuff. It's just getting it done. It's just making it as easy on themselves as possible. That's well-coached basketball. It really reminds me of like that 2014 Spurs team. The level of unselfishness, the level of camaraderie. There's no ball hogs on this team. There's nobody on this team that is going to make a selfish play, that isn't going to spread the ball, make the right play in general. Everybody's always looking to make things as easy as possible for the team as a unit, and that's why they are so commendable. That's why I love watching them so much. With no Tyler Hero, without that 20 points per game, that's got to come from somewhere else, and the Heat have done a remarkable job of replacing it in various ways with guys all over the court that can hurt you. This is a team that never goes away. Doesn't matter how much they get down. They embrace being down 10 plus points. We've seen the stats. These guys, they're the comeback kings. They're not fazed by momentum. They're not fazed by enemy territory, an opponent's run. If they can score one time to stop the bleeding, they're officially back in the game. We've seen them do it time and time again in this series. In both these games, the Celtics look like they're going to blow the game open in the second quarter with a monster run, and then all of a sudden, boom, the game, it's tied. It's like clockwork. They just don't go away. They always have an answer. They just keep executing, getting their shots, getting good shots, and if they don't make their shots, they're not phased. They're going to keep running the same offense. They're going to keep playing the same way. They're not going to get sped up and turn the ball over a million times, which is easy to do when you're on the bad end of a run in an opponent's building. And we saw the Celtics have these tendencies way more, like at the end of this game or just the end of games in general when Jason Tatum can't remember how to dribble a basketball and Marcus Smart just can't catch a pass from 2 feet away. Guys just fold for no reason. Guys are phased in their own building. And it leads to an inevitable doom. And how is this team going to win on the road now? Well, I will say that the Boston Celtics, they have been really good on the road, actually better on the road than at home in this playoffs, which is completely different from every other team remaining. And they are the only team, believe it or not, remaining in the NBA playoffs that has lost even one game at home. And they've lost several. So we know they can win games on the road, but you really put yourself in a hole going down 2-0 at home. I'm not looking at seeding here. We shouldn't be paying attention to the fact that the Heat are an 8 seed, besides just celebrating the improbability and how amazing it is that they have gotten to this point. They knock off the Bucks. If they knock off the Celtics too en route to the NBA Finals, it's got to be one of the best stories we've ever seen in the league. But let's just be honest, this team was a 1 seed last year. They look like that team. So there shouldn't be a level of surprise anymore, the fact that they are here on this stage in the position that they're in. I don't want to hear ESPN talking about 3%. I literally bet the series spread for the Heat. I bet this series to go to 6 or 7, go the distance. We know what the Heat do in the playoffs. This team makes it tough for anybody they play. Nobody wants to play this team for a reason. It's not because of the immense talent all across their roster. Yes, they have talent, but it's just about how they make everything tough. They just game plan the other team's weaknesses. They coach better than any team in the league, and they're just dogs. Every single last one of them with the playoff experience, with the know-how. They just build on what they have done in the past, and the chemistry is second to none. So let's talk about Jason Tatum just for a quick second here. Why didn't I think this team was going to be the championship favorite after most sportsbook had them as the championship favorite for most of the year until Milwaukee went on that late run? I was picking Milwaukee to win the finals. Times have clearly changed, and the Boston Celtics, they're like the last team remaining. We knew that the Sixers didn't really stand a chance, although they pushed that series to 7. No one was picking them to win that series. I never thought the Boston Celtics had the guy. I didn't think they had the superstar, the number 1 player, to push them over the top, to close games consistently. It's not about what you do in the first 3 quarters of a basketball game in the playoffs. You have to blow a team out for it to be about that. And the Celtics going up against a team like the Miami Heat, you can't just blow out the Miami Heat. You can't just run away with it. They always stay in the game. So in the fourth quarter, you have to have a guy that can consistently make the tough shots. Jason Tatum has no field goals made in the fourth quarter in this series so far, and Jaylen Brown pulled a disappearing act last night. Who are they going to go to in these situations? Who is going to save the day? How are they going to execute down the stretch? Because they have looked absolutely lost in the fourth quarter so far in this series. And honestly, shaky at a lot of times in the playoffs. They just go into sequences where they're taking bad ISO shots, guys shooting contested mid-range, contested threes, step-back shots early in the shot clock. Guys are trying to will in buckets because we have so much talent. We can just take these shots and fuck passing the ball around a lot and getting the best shot possible, because these guys, they just don't trust each other enough. They don't trust the offense enough to provide a good shot without turning the ball over. So we're settling for ISO ball. We're settling for contested off-dribble pull-up shots, and that's just not consistent. Can't be relied on in the fourth quarter. You don't have the guy that's going to make those shots time and time again when it matters the most. And let me just go easy on Tatum for a second, because he's not getting the help that he needs. My thing was, it was about him because the team has so much depth. They have so many defenders and switchable guys and guys that can just make a shot. Like Derek White is like your 6th guy now. He's coming off the bench, but that dude just doesn't miss. This team has got the pieces, but the star talent, like if Brown is not delivering, this shit is not going to work at all. If he doesn't have a 25-point game, they're going home. Simple as that. He needs 30 in one of these games. And we can talk about why Jaylen Brown is struggling, and we can blame it on him, but we got to give a lot of credit to Bam Adebayo, because when the Celtics go small and you have Kevin Love on the court guarding the other team's 5, like, who's Bam going to guard? They put him on Jaylen Brown. He's proving why he's the most versatile defensive player in the NBA. This man is shutting down a shooting guard, an all-NBA second-team shooting guard, playing any role on the defensive end that they need him to play. We know he can switch on to anybody in general, and then when the Heat go into this zone, they have just guys on the court wherever. Against the Celtics team full of hybrid guard wing players, that the Miami Heat have guys like Jimmy, Caleb Martin, Max Strus, Kyle Lowry even. They can switch onto all those guys. So there really isn't a lot of mismatch hunting that the Celtics can do. And then when you go into the zone, it's like, okay, you guys have to pass out of that. The Celtics have to trust each other to make the right play in that situation. And down the stretch of games, we're seeing that that level of trust just isn't there. Now back to Bam for a second and his offensive production. A guy I got on a lot, actually in the middle of the season when this team was kind of struggling. Why isn't Bam Adebayo scoring 20 points? Why isn't this guy pulling his weight enough on the offensive end? Because sometimes Jimmy would go out. They would need a big performance from Bam against a team that Bam has no business not scoring 20 against, and he wouldn't do it. But you see the way the guy plays. It's all about in the flow. It's all about making the right play in the right situation. And when he has that space to make a play in the open court, he can get inside, he can get to a good look and a good spot, and they can just get a shot in the flow that works. On the other hand, you use him on the perimeter to drag Robert Williams out and get him away from the rim, and he's doing these dribble handoff actions, fake dribble handoffs. He's throwing those beautiful passes to Duncan Robinson, the backdoor cuts. And Duncan Robinson, what a contribution last game. But it just goes to show that nobody on this Heat team can be slept on. Everybody has a role and anybody can hurt you. Even a guy like Duncan, who's riding the bench like all season. This dude's backdoor cutting guys to death. And even in a game where Lowry and Kevin Love combined for a donut 0 points, it's Caleb Martin who comes in and just saves the day. This is just a great player, underrated guy who can do everything on the court. It seems like he's an active body. He's always in the mix chasing rebounds. He's out there guarding Tatum a lot of the time. He can make the 3-point shot. He can drive the lane, just makes athletic plays. Versatile defensive player, you name it. He does everything. Swiss Army knife. This whole fucking Miami Heat team is just a bunch of glue guys that know their role, play their role around the stars. And Jimmy, who is supercharging this offense in the fourth quarter, doesn't have to do everything throughout the course of the game, but when it's time to close, it's time to close. And who else do you want besides Jimmy Butler? I know in this series that there is not a guy on this Boston Celtics team that is going shot for shot with Jimmy Butler in the fourth quarter. And so this team is just a well-built team, and they're so well coached. Joe Mazzulla is out of his depth going up against Erik Spoelstra. This Heat team is composed. They're not fazed by a run. They're not fazed by momentum or crowd noise. They just execute, and the Celtics rely on tough shot making, talent, great players, but they just don't have that same level of chemistry, trust, leadership, and coaching. So that's going to do it. I just want to shine light on the Miami Heat. Oh, let me talk about Gabe Big Nuts Vincent for a second, who was cold all game, doesn't have it going. Very streaky player who some games he's a killer. We definitely saw that in Madison Square Garden a couple weeks ago. But some games he doesn't do anything and he just can't hit a shot. Well, it doesn't matter because at any given time, this dude could just make a clutch shot. He's not afraid of the moment. It epitomizes this Heat team. Nobody's afraid to shoot it regardless of the history of the game. If they're missing shots, they're making shots, whatever. These guys are just going to play the same way, and that's a sign of a great basketball team in a high-octane, high-intensity playoff situation. And the Celtics, they don't look ready. They don't look like they've really been here as much as they have, which there is no excuses for that. The Heat were plus 10 in this game, plus 8.5 in game 1. I cashed both of those out. I took their series spread. This series, I thought it was going to go 6 or 7. This is how the Heat play. They're zombies. They stay in every game. They stay in every series. They fight to the brink, and they might lose, but they go out, they give it everything they've got. So much respect for that. That's going to do it for this video. Let me know what you guys think about the Miami Heat.